Welcome to The Good Work, a podcast and video series that follows The Event Company, an event design company that specializes in corporate, nonprofit, and social events. Our passion lies in creating one-of-a-kind events that share the good work of organizations we are fortunate to collaborate with. Tune in for conversations with leaders of these great groups, our best advice for your next event, and some behind-the-scenes moments. Now, let us show you the good work.
The excitement behind the launch of a new company, a new location, or even a new product is one of the most exciting times for a company, and it's one of our favorite things to be a part of. In this episode of The Good Work, we're talking all about launch parties and grand openings, from some of our favorite launch events and experiences to even some of our tips for making them special. Please welcome to today's podcast, Addie, Callie, and Sarah.
Hi, ladies.
Hello.
Hey, guess what we're talking about today?
What?
You did the intro,
Trivia.
Callie. Callie, you did the intro. Trivia.
Trying to give just a little to our imagination, so I tried to like I didn't know.
Nope,
but-
that was really bad.
Okay.
Launch parties. We're talking about launch parties, and it's kind of fun because we just launched season 2 of The Good
Yeah.
Work. So it's kind of fitting. But there's a lot of different kinds of launch parties that I think we've done over the years and been a part of, and I'm a huge fan of grand openings and launch parties. Or sometimes we've even called them premiere parties.
Yeah.
Grand opening, do you like that word?
It's not my favorite.
Kind of old school.
Yeah. But sometimes that's the most fitting, I guess, in
Or
some
people
sense.
have re-grand openings.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah. Because I don't know, some sense, maybe something's not a launch per se.
Yeah.
If it's like something totally new, I don't know. Mm-hmm. So I think
So
it depends.
what is a launch party?
I think of something like
How would you describe it?
I think of almost something as like a new product or initiative or something that's like new that's being released for the first time. Whereas I kind of think of a grand openings like a new business opens up and they're opening for the
Wanna
first
showcase
time.
their services.
Yeah, yeah. So maybe that's just my thinking behind it, and they're really the same thing. But
Yeah, and people, I've been to a lot of re-grand openings where they are celebratory, like if it's a 50th anniversary celebration or 100 years in business, they do big parties and things like that. Some of them call them, the re-grand opening piece, but I don't like that name. I'm just going to go on
it is old school.
It is a little old school. And so when I've done launch parties, we've called them like premiere parties to kind of make them sound super swanky and fun. But we've also called them launch parties, debuts. There's a lot of different ways to be able to.
I like debut.
Yeah.
That's fancier.
So some of them, I think, can we talk about our favorite ones?
Oh, yeah.
Or actually all of them are our favorites.
Correct.
All of them are our
Good
favorites.
save.
But what was your first launch party that you were a part of, Callie?
I think mine would have been when we launched 1 Million Cups at the Orpheum and we did a little launch party.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah. That was way back a little bit ago. But
Yeah,
that was kind of the first launch piece that I did.
That's kind of like a relaunch.
Yes,
Yeah.
it was. We moved locations.
But we relaunched again, though, in, what was it, March this year?
kind
Yeah.
of, yeah.
When we did
In a different location.
In another different location.
Yeah.
Because that was a big party. Gosh, we had donut wall. Everything was all color
Gourmet
coordinated.
coffee
Gourmet
station.
coffee station. Thank you to Matt Paulson of Market Beat. We also
Balloons.
Oh yeah, the balloon arch from Queen City Balloon.
That was really
That
cool.
was
The backdrop,
Yep.
uplighting.
Yep.
That was a fun one.
Yeah.
I think launch parties, people need to spend time preparing for it. You can't, because it should be honestly part of your business plan of whenever you go to market with a product or like you said, a new business, whatever it happens to be. One of my most favorite ones, and I know I didn't tell you about this, but Sugar's Baked Goods and Sweet Treats. They used to be a local bakery here on the west side of Sioux Falls, kind of in that Party Land,
Oh, yeah.
that little strip mall area over there. They're no longer in business. She decided to close up and spend a little bit more time with her family. Not because of the launch party. She was well in the business after the launch party, people. But it was so fun. We actually had cupcake stations for the kiddos to kind of do different things and we bought those, those little paint palettes, the little circle palettes. And we put sprinkles inside of those.
Oh, cute.
So people could, so they were easy. kiddos dumping sprinkles everywhere.
Yeah.
Well, they were contained in that space. But we had different specials that were going on that day. It was such a fun launch party. But you need to spend time and focus on those things, and they need to be part of your plan. Otherwise, people have no clue what's happening, right?
Right. And when you're just launching, you want to create that chatter about your business, and you want people talking about it like weeks after your party.
Yeah. Good buzz.
Yeah.
And something to look forward to. Like, it's kind of, if it's like a grand opening in some sense, it's kind of like your introduction into the community, or something new is being introduced. And you don't want that to just like be under the door. Like, you really want to get it out there.
Promote it. Yeah.
That's why you should hire a professional.
Correct.
The end. No, I'm serious, because, you have to be focused on so many things that you're already doing. Testing product, labeling things, or if you're moving into a new location, you have all of that to deal with, right? You need to make it look good. You've got advertising. You've got all these different pieces to draw people there. So why not hire a partner to be able to help you take it to that next level?
Yeah.
I mean, we've been a part of Costello when Costello did their, what was that? Not really a grand opening. It was kind of... It was a launch.
It was the chamber ribbon cutting that they just kind of elevated, which we've done a couple of those where they kind of in the ribbon cutting ceremony. So we've just elevated them to be kind of more of an open house style, almost in a sense after of where they in Costello's case, they had a new apartment complex that was opening up. It was one of its kind and a very special project of the former governor. Yeah. And so he was in attendance, and it was just something that had been a long work in progress, and they really wanted to celebrate it. So we had... Fortunately, the weather did not cooperate with us that day.
That was a rough
We had a
day.
tent outside in the parking lot. We had kind of food. People spoke about the complex and the project and how it kind of a project of love for so long for so many people.
Yeah.
And there was a lot of rain that day. I remember sweeping out rain of a tent. Why does this always happen to me?
I don't know.
But it was such a good, like, there's 150 people came together to
awesome.
celebrate the opening of this complex. So it was a really cool introduction to the community, I think.
And they gave tours of the apartment building, which is awesome. Some of our locations, like we did a launch party for Frontier Bank when they moved into their downtown location, kind of in that little plaza area. And we actually worked with Ripple Marketing to kind of partner up to be able to do that. We when I was over at the Creative Co-op, and we did a Mad Men theme.
Oh cool. My gosh.
It was so swanky, so fun. Like, we had cocktails. We actually had some of our floral was in martini shakers.
Fun.
So we used that as kind of the vases, and old vintage typewriters and old cool suitcases, some of the vintage pieces that we have. And it was awesome. All red and black. So it didn't even coordinate with their colors. And you don't have to. That's the fun part, right? It's a launch. So you should make it a party. And with that one, we had press releases that went out during that week. We had a special day when the media could come in, media and VIPs. And then we opened it up to the public.
Yeah.
So it was a multi-day launch.
And I think that's the smart
so
piece. It was something I was kind of like hoping to touch on later too, but you kind of already brought it up, of where it's how I think there's some tips to how to make it truly like an experience. I think they need to be something like that. You can't just throw people in and say, okay, come and socialize.
Right. Yeah,
like
some balloons and
how
cookies.
It needs to be like you said, for one tip, you have to communicate it prior to. People need to know that it's something. First of all, something's happening. But second, involve the media. Like, get them there through the door that day. And a great way to do that is provide an experience. Another way to do that, I think of Sioux Falls Tower.
Yes.
And communications. And we did there what was also a ribbon cutting, but kind of an open house for their brand new location.
Right.
But we invited the media out the day before or the morning of to come climb the new tower they had in the facility.
So awesome.
That nobody had really been on before. Right. And such a unique experience.
What were those 25-foot or 30-foot towers inside of their training center?
That was cool.
It was cool because it was, there was a couple funny pieces because at the end of that party too, like, guests were able to do it. They got harnessed up. It was all great, good to go for safety wise. But she had wedges on. Do you remember that lady climbing it in wedges? And I'm like, oh, dear Lord. But it was cool. So it was an experience, like you said, Callie, instead of just the cookies and the coffee and cut the ribbon and ta-ta. And that's okay if you want to do that piece of it. But I agree with you. I think that experience piece is what is memorable. And it gets people to see that other side of you.
Right.
Yeah.
Even like a little thing, like I think of the 1 Million Cups launch. Like, we had this fun photo booth that gave people a chance to like bring their group together in and get their photo taken, follow up afterwards with their stuff. Like, there's even little touches that give you a reason to even follow up or connect with them later.
And nobody ate the donuts. I don't know why. No, remember that?
They're so pretty though.
Oh yeah, girl, we got good photos.
They probably just didn't want to mess up the beautiful.
We got the great photos, but yeah, you're right. Nobody ate the donuts.
Yeah,
but whatever. Just to give another reason and something else to make that experience, I think is important. So
those statement pieces create really good branding.
Yeah.
So you know how 1 Million Cups, we had the orange theme, and it played on so well. And then that awesome balloon wall photo piece. I mean, people were by there the whole time.
Yeah.
So.
Yeah.
I did another launch party once. We called it a premiere party as well, for an optical store that used to be in Sioux Falls. It was called 2020 Eye Candy. And what we did is they bought their glasses and eyewear and things like that from like Fashion Week, like in New York. So they'd have stuff from Paris. Those glasses, my cool cat eye ones that I have, are from Japan.
Oh,
like
cool.
they have really cool, like Badgley Mishka, like a lot of cool brands. And we called it a premiere party where we had red carpet, we had bumpin' music. Because it used to be called 2020 Eye Candy, we had a candy bar to kind of play on that piece. And it was like a 3-tiered candy bar. We had live models. And people would just look at them like, is this real or not? Because they'd be just standing like this or with their eyes like this, you know?
Fun.
It was real.
That.
Yes, we got to hire these live models and red carpet jams. Like, it was a party, but that's what it was meant to be, you know?
Yeah.
And it was a 2-day celebration as well. And when you have them on those multiple days, I think it's nice because it gives that exposure to your key players, right? Whether they're your employees, your stakeholders, board of directors, media, and then you open it up to the public.
Yeah.
That's what we typically will see in those parties. But I think standing out is huge. And we had media in attendance as well. And that's what makes the big splash.
Yeah, definitely.
What about products? Because we've been a part of some events where they've debuted products. Do you want to talk a little bit about that?
Yeah. I think a big one that we've worked on last year and then this year a little bit as well, I would say product and initiative kind of are combined on this one.
I agree.
Would be Profile by Sanford. So at their annual Unite convention, they do what we call an innovation showcase. So Profile is a big brand of where they have, it's a nutrition-based brand in a sense. So they have products that they release. And so in a sense, we launched them. And a cool thing last year, so they announced, we kind of did it almost like award showy sense of where it was a big, like, she announced them and there's like lights and like
people
music
were like,
and like cheering so loud, the
factor.
wow factor where she launched them. So the lead dietitian, she launched them, and then we took them back into one of the rooms and they got to sample all the products that she just launched. And those products last year were going to be released in the coming year. I don't think even some of them have been released yet, but in the coming year and a half. This year, it's even more kind of special of where we're doing the kind of the same thing. Even a little bit, I kind of announced them even some fun ways also, but then there's even a couple products that they're truly testing of where they're waiting to get like 50 people get to test this product and give their feedback on it if Profile should even further the programming to complete it and make it a complete product. So,
and they had some digital things that they tested last year. It wasn't just the
tech
food
pieces.
There's
a new scale, an app.
But people get so jacked up. You're absolutely right. It was like an award show that was happening, and people were just screaming about
like I saw
cauliflower pizza crust.
I remember she said she said ice cream, and some lady just like spurred up, just like started clapping so loud. So like it was just so, I don't know, it's fun. And I think it's a piece that everyone really gets excited about because these people especially, they know it's for their members and how it can make a difference for them. So
it's similar to like when go ahead.
I feel like they feel special when they're included in that stuff.
Exactly.
And they get to be a part of like the beta testing.
And
I'm
all super excited about that piece this year, just to see how that goes. The test, like call it the test kitchen piece, to see what that feedback kind of looks like. And so I'm kind of excited for that. But even then, also at Profile, we do kind of initiative launches. So last year they had a speaker. Based off that speaker's message and how we kind of correlated it with Profile, they were able to create a whole new like customer service initiative plan that they have been rolling out and still are rolling out to this day throughout Profile. And similar pieces this year that they're announcing for just overall strategic planning pieces that they announced there that they're going to that's going to take place in the company. So I think that's special. I think it's cool. It's a way to make it a big deal, but also to make people feel like they're involved in it. That they have a say, they have a say and a way to truly be involved in the company and seeing it progress forward. So,
you know what I just thought of? Wouldn't it be cool to be part of one of Apple's launches?
Oh yeah,
right.
I get messages all the time like Apple launch party this date and Apple blah blah blah.
That would be fun.
Who's got connections?
You're looking right at me, and I don't know why.
I don't even use Apple.
That's why I'm not looking at you. That's why I'm not even
Google.
looking at you.
Hit us up.
No, I think they're fun. And I think there's obviously steps and things that you need to keep in mind. My first tip for anybody who's looking to do a launch party is just give yourself time to do it. We've had people that have reached out to us like 45 days prior to a launch. And it's hard because in order to enact the plan, first of all, but to get your media players on board, to get whatever you need graphically, signage, if you're doing invites to certain people, like you got to move fast.
And still run your business.
Correct. Right. So sometimes people get those ideas real late in the game. And sometimes they work, right? Sometimes you figure it out and you do it. But I think strategically, I would build that into any business plan of any launch just to see what that looks like. And because it's important. I mean, you're investing those dollars in getting the people there. This is just one small piece of it.
And being smart about, I think, truly taking on what you can or can't choose. So I think of like a new business of where you should not probably have I get you want a grand open when you have your first week of business, but it might just not be practical knowing you're starting a business. Yeah. I shouldn't throw a party on top of that.
That's a really good point. So a lot of people,
what if you look at taking it even a month or 2 months after you've kind of got things going, it's settled, you've somewhat been introduced, but how can you make it bigger?
Good point.
I just, I guess trying to understand people just to not take it off because you want the success of the company and the start of the company to be successful, but you also want that piece to
especially
be
when you're in
too.
like a service industry, right? Like you talk about like a restaurant or a new bagel shop or whatever. Yeah, you want to make sure you've got all that stuff and your POS works and people are being served in a point of sale. Sarah.
Oh, I know what that
is. You want to make sure your POS
But the last thing you'd want is
all those systems.
No one can check out and you have hundreds of people waiting. Yeah. So
interesting.
Just a little point, idea. I guess.
I did a fun one in Woodbury, Minnesota for Core Trust Bank years ago. That was fun because we had to end up meeting with fire chiefs in those cities because we had a huge tent that was going up. And when you talk about getting the word out and awareness, like we would go to everybody in that strip mall and invited them. Like it was very strategic to be able to get those people there. We had a band. It was all outdoors. It was more of a block party style. So it's kind of that whole strip mall area was closed down for us. But even to close off and barricade streets down, I mean, there's a lot of things to take into consideration if you're hosting a launch party outside of your walls.
Yeah.
I think that's a big thing.
So do you recommend doing printed invites or digital or just promote on social media?
I would do all. Yeah, to be honest. I mean, your VIPs, stakeholders, investors, whoever is your key people, I'd probably do a printed one for them. And then I would do digital for everybody else. And then your public invite, I would totally do social.
Socials.
Yeah. Because it's fun to be a part of those pieces. I mean, so many events are on social media right now.
Yeah.
It's just an easy way for us to capture numbers, to be able to see who's going to be there. But when it's super private, like Costello's, while that one was public, it was public because it was a ribbon cutting. It was more private. In a sense, and they did printed save the dates. Remember that? Didn't they do printed save the dates? Yeah. But like 1 Million Cups is obviously all public and that was all social. So yeah, good.
What do people base their head counts off of? Because you can't go off of the Facebook because everyone could say yes and then you have 5 people show up.
It's a guessing game, to be honest with you. Yeah. Do you remember doing that for Sioux Falls Tower and Communications? We're like, oh, we have no idea.
Because there's the same thing. Like kind of public was ribbon cutting, but then also the open house piece falling was mostly for the families of like the employees. It's kind of like employee appreciation piece. So
you know what, though? I will take a little part of that back, though. The chamber will always tell you, especially if you do these in conjunction with the Chamber of Commerce and do your ribbon cutting, they will say, rain or shine, you'll have 40 people there, which is true. Because you have chamber ambassadors, you have young professionals, you've got the president, you've got all these different people that are part of your ribbon cutting. And they have specific paperwork that you have to fill out. And I filled them out so many times for different groups already. But rain or shine, there'll be 40 people at least. So it's a good number to base it on.
Yeah.
Speaking of chamber and ribbon cuttings, there's only so many days that they do ribbon cuttings and so many times that they offer ribbon cuttings too. Do you guys know that?
No, I did not know that.
Yeah.
I was going to say it's a good thing if you are new to a community. It's a good thing to be a part of.
Yeah.
But, or to have.
I know they've got like an 11:30, 4:30. I don't know what the other time is, but
both of ours have. Well, the one was
11:30.
11:30, and then 4:30 was
Costello's. Yeah.
I think.
Yeah. So it just kind of varies. But having, I think, just to kind of wrap it up, I think interaction is good and creating that experience and planning ahead. That would be my 3 things.
I think
what about you?
Too.
Yeah.
Yeah. Communication with all parties. Like I think involving media, having that involvement piece, and then making an experience.
Yeah. Creating that buzz is so important.
Yeah. Can I tell you a little behind the scenes thing? One time I had, for one launch party, which I've already mentioned, I had one media person from a station I will not tell you who, it was, but she had called me and said, I can't believe that you told this other media outlet before, or that they can go in to this location before you even called me. And she didn't come because she wanted to be the first to know that it was happening. Yeah. Media get kind of touchy and sensitive around that. So my one piece of advice would be to send it to all media at the same time. I learned my lesson. Yes. Because I was just reaching out individually, like Jody Schwan, Angela Kennecke, like some of our business people, and just reaching out individually, and didn't work out so well for me. We're still friends.
Good.
That's good. That's good.
Okay, both of you are like,
don't want to burn those bridges.
No, but it is an important part for them to be involved in. So,
well,
I want to launch something now.
I know, I do too.
Yeah,
I can't wait for our next. What are we going to launch?
Season 2.
That'd be a fun. Look at you.
Season 2.
Sounds
Let's
good.
Thank you for listening to today's episode of The Good Work. We had the best time sharing more with you about launch parties and grand opening experiences. Listen in next week as we introduce you to our friend Vanessa Gomez of KSFY News. Don't forget to subscribe to The Good Work on YouTube and iTunes, and follow the event company on social media to stay up to date on the good work we are part of each day.